Okay, can everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll call the meeting to order now. I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Okay, in the event of an emergency, all people may exit right or left from this room and proceed to an exit door. All doors will open from the inside. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Haledon Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the North Jersey Record Herald News, the board's official newspaper, on January 10th, 2024 and December 2nd, 2024. Notices of this meeting indicating date, time, and place were posted publicly on the door of the main entrance to the school and filed with the clerk in the municipality of Haledon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
Present.
Mr. Coletta? Ms. Quadrado?
Here.
Mr. Guzman?
Here.
Mr. Martinez? Mr. Moxell?
Here.
Mr. Ramadan?
Here.
Dr. Webb?
Here.
And Mrs. Zissa.
Here. Okay, so we have board member recognition at this time, and I just want to say a few words. We have certificates to present to Mr. Omar Abbasi and Dr. Nathan Webb as a small token of appreciation for their service to the Haledon Board of Education. Though these are just pieces of paper, please know, Mr. Abbasi and Dr. Webb, that they come with a lot of gratitude for the time you dedicated and with much respect for your expertise in education, strategic planning, and beyond. Your commitment to the board, and more importantly, to the students of Haledon Public School, have made a difference in our HPS community. Mr. Abbasi, I could always count on you to ask the right questions and to discern important details in all the reports and paperwork that we as a board have to review in order to make important decisions before we vote. Dr. Webb, your sensibility when it comes to student potential, as well as setting the tone for an equitable space for students to thrive in, has been invaluable. Thank you both so much for being part of our team. So I would like to present, I guess I'll start. Okay. Okay. I'll start with Mr. Abbasi. He is you served for 3 years on the board. So I would like to present this. Yeah. You want to get a picture, Chris? We can come around here. Take this off. There. Oh, actually, I just realized. Never mind. Where should we go?
You tell me.
Here. We'll go here.
Look
So let me hand this to you. Let's take a picture.
at those.
Oh.
Thank you, Omar.
Now I
Couldn't hand it to her.
want to present to Dr. Webb, who has been on the board 4 years, Dr. Webb?
Yes.
And we hope to see you both around in town and at board meetings whenever you like. Okay. Let's go down to correspondence. Can I have a motion to accept correspondence?
So move.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Ms. Quadrado. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abasi,
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado,
Yeah.
Mr. Guzman,
Yes.
Mr. Maxell,
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan,
Yes.
Dr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Zissou.
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve prior minutes?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Dr. Webb. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abasi,
No, abstain.
Ms. Quadrado.
Yeah.
Mr. Guzman,
Yes.
Mr. Maxell,
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan,
Yes.
Dr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Zissou.
Yes. Okay. Can I have a motion to open the floor to citizens on agenda items only? So
Second.
moved by Ms. Quadrado, seconded by Mr. Motzko. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the floor is open to citizens on agenda items only. Anybody, Mr. Miller? Okay, can I have a motion to close?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Bassi, seconded by Mr. Motzko. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving down to reports. Okay, so, well, I think some of you, everyone who's here was upstairs, so they already heard this, but I'm gonna say it again for the record. So we just had, a very exciting ribbon cutting for our new addition to the HPS school building. The space is beautiful and it's already being optimized by our pre-K classes. And so much hard work went into this undertaking. And I want to thank again our Chief School Administrator, Mr. Waka, our Business Administrator, Lamika Augustin, our Director of Facilities, Jermaine Mann, for their leadership and close attention to all the details. I want to thank I misplaced that piece of paper, but our architects, DeCarabino, and our Northeast Construction is our construction company who partnered with us on this endeavor, and they did a great job. I also want to thank our teachers, our staff, our students, and community just for the cooperation, for the patience. Now we can enjoy all the sacrifice that we had to make especially the students and teachers and staff had to make. Now we can enjoy the fruits of that labor. So, congratulations to everybody. I'm just so happy that we can serve, all of our pre-K students now, no more wait list. So it's a great day, and it's a new chapter in HPS. Next, I want to thank Mr. Kyle Gavin for his dedication for the past 10 years to Haldon Public School. Mr. Gavin created HPS's STEM program from the ground up, and it has flourished to include a robust middle school curriculum that includes interactive and thought-provoking projects, experiments, and coursework that challenge students, get them excited about learning, and help them make connections between subject matter and real-life applications, which is exactly what we want our students to do. We'll make sure to carry on the good work that you have begun here at HPS, Mr. Gavin, and best of luck in your future endeavors. And then in closing, I just want to wish everybody a happy, healthy, safe, blessed holiday season. Rest, relax, spend time with your family and friends. And I look forward to the new year, continuing to work on our district goals, our board goals, and just keep making HPS better and pushing our district forward. And that's it for me. So I will turn it over to our Chief School Administrator, Mr. Waka.
Thank you, Ms. Board President. First thing I want to talk about is the holiday concert we had this morning. I was incredibly pleased by how great the kids did. They really did do a fantastic job, but I'm highly displeased that a student was able to fall from the back of the risers, and I want to talk about that now. Before I do, I want to let the board know that we're incredibly grateful that the student is okay. But this mishap was very avoidable, and it won't happen again. The first part of the issue is ensuring that this won't happen again. As such, I've asked our team to review risers that come with a built-in back guardrails that are of appropriate height for our students age K through 8th grade. We could simply order rails and install them to the existing structure, but I want this problem fixed completely and permanently. As such, I want to purchase a structure that's designed specifically to prevent this. And I expect to have this order placed within the next few weeks. No student groups are going to need to use the risers for a couple months, so even if it takes a couple weeks for us to get the new materials, the new product, that will be okay. The second part of it is that I was informed that a similar situation had occurred during a practice session the day before. That this happened and it wasn't reported to the administration is an issue. There's no doubt about that. It's an issue that I've addressed with the applicable staff members. My second item I want to talk about is on Saturday evening, myself, Ms. Isa, a bunch of board members as well were there, and I saw George there, and the Haledon students and Haledon staff and Haledon community members. We attended a service for Giselle Winter, our eighth grader who passed away last month. The service was beautiful, and the most beautiful part for me, at least, my opinion, was the video tribute of her life. As one would expect, the first sets of photographs were of her from her infant and toddler years. Then we started to see as she got older, and many of the pictures were either taken at Haledon Public or pictures where she was wearing Haledon Public, clothing. And it was emotional being reminded this way just how important this place is to a whole lot of people's lives, students and family and staff, but especially students. So I want to thank Giselle's family for inviting us and making us feel welcome at that type of event, and for allowing us to share in their grief during this highly difficult time. I expect sometime in late January or perhaps early February, we'll look to work with the family and determine what the best way we could do at Haledon to honor Giselle's life. When we lost Caleb in 2019, we had waited a few months, and 4 months later, and then we had a ceremony for him where we dedicated a bench in his honor in the playground area. The year later, we lost Corrado tragically, and we waited about 4 or 5 months, and we did our mural, and we had a ceremony for that. We're going to look to keep this pattern and have some sort of ceremony for Giselle in May or June this upcoming year, but of course, we want to work with the family to find something that we think is best for everybody. Number 3, during the upcoming winter break, I've worked with our director of facilities, and we're going to be going to every bathroom to check the quality of the stalls. Any stall that's not opening this for students, any stall that's not opening all the way or not closing all the way or squeaky or whatever, those are going to be identified as stalls that need repair. And then during the Christmas break week, we're going to look to make it so that when we get back, this is not something we have to concern ourselves with for a while. I got great news. Third grader Francesca Di Stefano was awarded 3rd place in the Passaic County Poster Contest. She will receive a calendar, a medal, a t-shirt, and a certificate from the county at a ceremony at the Police Academy on the 23rd. So congratulations to Francesca, and congrats to Ms. Toscano for entering her students in this contest. Finally, I want this board to know that during our reorg meeting, I will prepare information regarding the upcoming front door security project. We've looked at it, and then Lamika had actually come up with a really good idea, so that's gonna make it even better. So I'm looking forward to presenting the board a general outline on that. There's still a few pieces of information I need, and Pat's also been very helpful. That's why I say thank you to that. But I'm looking forward to sharing that. Per Mr. Gavin, he did do a great job spearheading this STEM. It's sad to see him leave. He has aspirations of being a school administrator, and I think he's going to be very, very, very good at it. And this is he's becoming an instructional coach, which is a very good pathway towards that goal. So I'm really proud of him. And on Saturday, this coming Saturday at 6:30 p.m., Haledon Public School has a float for the annual holiday parade. They're departing pretty much on time from Manchester at 6:30. So if you're going to come, we'd love to have you come. It's going to be cold, so bundle up. But that's always a fun night. Bring your kids, please. And we'll leave from 6:30 from Manchester. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Augustin?
I have a very short report. We didn't have a chance to meet today for the finance team, but my items are just agenda items. Today on the agenda, we have our annual safety grant that we are approving to accept. This is a grant that we submit through our insurance company, and we submit safety items that we're going to be using the money for. So we've already spent the money, and we're just getting reimbursed for safety supplies that we've spent throughout the year. This is annually that the insurance companies encourage us to continue making safety a priority with our school districts. The other item is 13.5 and 13.6. This is also our annual resolution that we passed with the ACES consulting company, that group bidding for gas and electricity for school district. It helps to get the prices at a favorable amount, even though that, the price of electricity and gas is rising. This is beneficial so that there's more purchasing power when we go out to bid with these groups as a whole. And the last item I'm going to speak on is just our finance reports from 13.7 to 13.14. These are the annual monthly reports, that we approve every month. And this is just a outlook of our finances throughout the district. And that's all I have to report as far as a highlight, but if there's any questions, I'm willing to answer.
I'm good.
Anybody else have any questions?
I don't think I have any questions.
Hi.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Augustin. Okay, state and county. So there was a county meeting on December 9th. A few of us were there, were in attendance, either virtually or in person. The presentation was harnessing the power of public relations, social media, and technology, and it was given by Dr. Janine Dutt. She's the superintendent of schools in North Warren Regional. It was very good. She discussed how a district can tell its own story through like social media, through their website, and other communication tools with the community. One of the questions that I had was, what is the role of the board? Because, as Mr. Merlino has, always reminds us when we have our ethics training in January, board members have to be careful what they post on their social media pages or, anywhere about the district. So basically the response that, that Dr. Dutt gave was, you can always post something positive, like if, the school did the play or the school had a concert or something like that. That's always, okay to post. But really it's the district as a whole. And she did make a good point that if the district, if you don't tell your own story, somebody else will. So it's in the district's interest to tell the story of our district, via social media, website, and all the communications that Mr. Waka and the administration are very proactive about that. So I think, we were right on the money with that. She also talked about artificial intelligence, and that's just one of those things that it's here to stay. It's not going away. So I think we need to embrace it. But we want to harness the positive aspects of it, right? We don't want it to, because it has the potential to also create problems, create issues, like in terms of course, schoolwork, classwork. So, that's something that, needs to be thought about. And maybe in the coming year, that's something that we can talk about and think about, how we're gonna leverage artificial intelligence, to the best of our advantage and to help our students. And then the other thing she talked about was just building strong relationships with your stakeholders, open two-way communication. And that's always something that is important, and it's always something that can be improved, and it's always something that we should be doing and working on. And I think we work towards, and I think, our district does a good job and Mr. Walker does a good job, but it's always something that you want to keep refining, so it was a really good presentation. And I believe we got the presentation, the PowerPoint, so I'd be happy to forward that to the board members who weren't able to attend. I'll forward it to Lois and then she can share it. Secondly, there is an opportunity for educators and other members of the public to comment on the state school funding law. Anyone who is interested in submitting comments can register to speak at 4 in-person hearings, or you can also submit written comments. So the remaining dates are January 8th, that one's in Somerville, January 14th in Trenton, and January 16th in Blackwood, New Jersey. So we've gotten a couple of emails. We got an email from Timothy Purnell from the New Jersey School Board Association. And then it's also in, that weekly roundup of things that we get from NJSBA. So if you're interested in that, just look out for that email. And it's not just board members, any members of the public can comment. And then lastly, there's always mandatory trainings that are coming up, webinars and other activities that board members can register for. So just, check your email. And that's all for state and county. Does anybody who attended the workshop, does anybody want to add, any of the board members?
I think it was a good webinar, and I also like the fact how they were branding. They were mentioning how the schools are like branded with their logos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny when you think about branding in schools because you don't usually connect those two things, but it's just a matter of like your identity, So I think our identity is like the Wildcat, but you also want to identify with really positive things like student success and
Anything in
extracurricular
our mission, anything
activities.
in our mission statement, right? Like that's kind of what we want to,
Yeah.
measure, we want to identify.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So thinking about branding in a kind of a broader way, as opposed to just thinking of it in like a marketing kind of way. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So Mr. Merlino, anything
No
for you?
report.
Nothing to report? Okay. Then let's move on to our committee reports. Personnel and management, Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Madam President. Firstly, let me just start by saying that we're losing two excellent, qualified board members. I'd say it was an absolute pleasure working with both of you. It truly was. I salute both of you, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds for both of you. Thank you again for your service to our district. Very excited about the ribbon cutting today. I don't think folks see how much work actually went into that project, from the administration all the way down. So thankful to our teachers, to our students, to our school community for all their full cooperation. We had some minor hiccups along the way, but I think it was worth it. It looks amazing. We've expanded preschool from started with 30 children a year, long waiting list, to now to get to a point where there is no waiting list. That is amazing. It's unprecedented. And that is a testament to you, Mr. Walker, and to this entire board, and to this entire school community. I appreciate also the support we received from Manchester Regional High School. We have our president, Mrs. I'm going to say this, but I'll say Mrs. Bias here. Ms. Gonzalez, thank you for being here as well. The school superintendent was here as well. We appreciate your support. It is important, I feel, that we continue that positive working relationship between both boards, both schools, because it's very, very crucial for our children's future. President Truman once said, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit. That school expansion is a credit to everyone in the school community. And I know I always talk about the positive things, but that doesn't mean that I do not fully understand and comprehend that there's still a lot more work left to do. And we're just getting started. I'm looking forward to our future, looking forward to continuing all the great initiatives we got going on. It's truly an honor working with all of you. It was a tough Saturday that we just had. But again, what I saw, silver lining, there is no silver lining in that situation, but saw a school community that was united. So teachers, so school administrators, so board members, so parents, so police officers. That's what it's all about. That when we're down, when one of us is down, we're there for each other. So again, thank all of you. President Liliana Bias, thank you. Ms. Gonzalez, thank you. And Let's continue the great work and let's remain united. Thank you.
And agenda items only, right? Thank you, Mr. Guzman. Okay, curriculum and technology, Dr. Webb,
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say a couple words. Right now,
please.
my heart is overwhelmed with gratitude. Thank you, Heldon, for this opportunity to serve for 4 years. I'm just thinking back to when I was appointed January of 2021. And at that point, I was just beginning to work on my doctoral work. So I felt like my time within this process as a doctoral candidate and as a board member at the same time, it allowed me not only to serve Heldon, but Heldon actually served me as well. I was able to learn a lot in regards of policy. I was on the policy committee. I was also on curriculum and technology, community engagement, just being able to understand the functions of a district. So I thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this process. I'm not gonna lie, the part I'm gonna miss the most is Read Across America. Dr.
So you're still invited. You're still invited.
Okay. And I think it's fitting that we're here in the library because I think Omar and I were both down here that day together reading to the preschoolers. So it's a wonderful thing. And I'm just so thankful again for the opportunity to serve. And yeah, I hope to be back someday soon. So thank you. Thank you, Eldon.
And agenda items only. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Webb. Okay. Policy and public relations, Mr. Abbasi.
Just a reminder, maybe I'll say something later, but just a reminder that starting in January with the new year, we have the telework, I'm so invested in my government job. The virtual policy, that guideline comes into play. So just a reminder to everyone, and nothing else to report on policy.
Okay, thank you. And I will be going over that in our January meeting, especially for, just as a reminder to our current board members and to inform our new board members, of that new policy effective January 1st. Thank you, Mr. Abbasi. Okay, security and safety, Mr. Guzman.
Agenda item 1.
Okay, community engagement, Mr. Abbasi.
Just a reminder again to what Mr. Waka alluded to earlier, that the parade leaving Manchester is this Saturday night at 6:30. He did send an email out on the 9th. So if anybody wants to join the float, just send Mr. Waka a note, respond to that email. And there's one agenda item for tonight.
Okay, and finance and physical plan, Mr. Motzko.
It's been so much said already, but I do want to say I've been on the board now for a few years, and it's got to be probably the most comfortable I felt with board members. All right, we are going to lose two true soldiers to our Heldon community, but just praying that we can stay on focus, on ground, on what we've been working on. But it's been a pleasure, Commissioner Abbasi and Commissioner Webb. So, and other than that, as I continue, agenda items only. But I will say that I am truly honored, and I've been gone for the last 2 meetings on personal matters. But I am truly honored to be voted back into this board. My goal has never changed. It's children first, youth first, and I can honestly say that this has just gave me another momentum, because by the time I have to run again, I'm gonna have a preschooler starting, so I'm not going nowhere. So with that being said, agenda items only.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Motzko. Okay, so we already did state and county and board and attorney report, so let's vote. Personnel and management, Mr. Guzman.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to move items 8.1 to 8.10.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Guzman, seconded by Dr. Webb. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abasi,
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado,
Yes.
Mr. Usman,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez. I'm sorry, Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan,
Yes.
Dr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Zissou.
Yes. Okay, curriculum and technology, Dr. Webb.
I'd like to move 9.1 through 9.7.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Webb, seconded by Mr. Abasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abasi,
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado,
I have a question and a comment, for item 9.1, the mystery readers.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if there was like is there gonna be like a vetting process for the people who are going to be the mystery readers?
So my understanding is this is gonna be like the parents of the kids in the classrooms, like the parents and grandparents and relatives. So the vetting process will be, when you walk in, you still have to put your ID in and they register you, they scan you against like the registered sex offender database. That's the level we use for this.
Okay.
Because they'll be in and out in like 20 or 15 minutes or something like that.
And then I just have a comment for 9.4, the anti-bullying prevention program. It really sounds interesting and I'm excited for it, and I'm hoping that we can bring more programs like that to the school.
Good, thank you. Yeah, because that one, I think a group that specializes in creating like anti-violence programming, they were the ones that put that together. I think it'll help the kids with the 3D screens with the glasses on. That might help increase the engagement. So, we'll assess it and hopefully it's really good.
Are we invited to come to?
Yes, board members are now invited. Let's do it.
Thank you, yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, everything.
Okay. Mr. Guzman,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan,
Yes.
Dr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Zissou.
Yes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, this is curriculum and technology. So actually on the free to be presentations that Ms. Quadrado
Mhm.
mentioned, 9.4. So that's just middle school, because I read that the youngest grade, they recommend the youngest grade to be sixth grade. So is that just the middle school grades that are gonna be participating?
My understanding is that's correct. Let me verify that. I'll email the entire board.
Okay, and then, they're gonna be collecting, like, it's an interactive sessions, from what I read there, it's an interactive session, they collect data like throughout the session. And then they share that with the staff and the teachers, and I was wondering if a summary of that data would be shared with parents, or is that gonna be?
So I have to see what it looks like, I guess, first. If it seems something that's worth sharing, I wouldn't have a problem sharing with the board first, and if the board thinks it's a good thing to share out. I just don't know exactly what it's gonna look like when we get back.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. And then for 9.6, the New Jersey 4S, the 5-week group study. So is that something that was initiated by the SEL counselor, or how did that come about?
So I would say Mr. Spazzato probably did the most work with this. He was the one, since he was a former guidance counselor, and when Giselle was a middle school student. He had been tasked with, procuring our counseling services. This is the people the people from the county that were doing that recommended, like, for the 20 or 30 that we identified as having had a really hard time with this loss, reaching out to their families and offering additional through the county.
Okay, so that was my next question, if you were kind of focusing on certain students, if it was gonna be open to all the
So
students.
the first day, a lot of the kids found out that morning, right? So we had 160 kids that received treatment, but the counseling services the first morning. The second day, I think we had maybe 80. And then the third day, it was basically they identified who would still need more. So that's kind of how we narrowed down the list.
Okay, all
Madam
right,
President,
yes.
if I may, I just want to say something. This is the third time that I've seen Mr. Walker and his team handle tragedy within a school district. And that doesn't include the COVID-19 pandemic that we had to do as well. And Mr. Walker, I just want to say thank you to you and your
Thank you.
team, for leading us through these tragic situations. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen you call cabinet meetings on Sunday. I've been here. And I will say this, everybody's not always going to agree, but I know your heart is in the right place. And I know the heart of your respective hearts of the folks on the team is in the right place as well. And I just want to thank all of you, because some folks may not see why a decision is made, but I would hope that they understand that it's made knowing that you have the best interest of the children in your mind. So
Thanks, George.
I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Guzman. Well said. Okay, and then my last question, you know, the 9.7, so I was pleased to see that we're going from STEM to STEAM.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering if that was based on a recommendation or how
So
that came
This is
about.
based on the fact that we had one person that applied, and that person was an ELA teacher, but he'd started like a robotics club, so we have the passion for the subject. The A in arts that would allow us to hire a language arts teacher that was, you know, really interested in STEAM, and then we would look to get them additional trainings for the science and the technology and engineering part. Sadly, that person backed out and took a job somewhere else. But since right now we have 0 candidates, by making it STEAM, then I could add ELA as a person that we would consider hiring for that.
Mhm.
And right now, I need people to apply, so I want to kind of open the gates as wide as I can.
Mhm. And I mean, it also
Mhm.
broadens the subject matter,
Mhm.
you know, it kind of, and you can make more connections, you know, besides just the, you know, the science
Mhm.
and technology and the math, and, you know, you can open it up to ELA, so I think it's
There's a
it's a
lot of
great
cool
move.
things you could do here, so hopefully it gets more candidates in, but right now, we're still at the 0 mark, but we're gonna keep pushing it and find, you know, hopefully find someone good soon.
So what's the risk if you don't find someone by the
So,
31st?
what we did with, when Mrs. Irabari had left teaching, she was a Spanish teacher, and it took us a real long time to find the Spanish teacher. We ended up putting a sub in the room, but we hired it's called Sarah Spanish School, it was based out of New Mexico, and they had a curriculum, and our kids were learning through a licensed teacher online, and then the sub was just making sure everybody was, you know, doing okay. For STEM, I really would hate to do that, like, that's really not the spirit of it. But we're gonna hope we don't have to get too creative with this.
All right, just keep us posted,
Mhm.
I know you will.
If you know anyone.
Okay.
Let them
Thank
know.
you. Okay, so, yeah, I vote yes. Okay. So next, and then we go down to, community engagement, Mr. Abbasi,
I'd like to move 12.1.
Second.
moved by Mr. Abbasi, seconded by Mr. Matzko, roll call, please.
Mr. Abasi?
Yes, and just a note on the holiday float, I guess it's first 20 are on it, because it's a 20-person limit. So,
We'll make room for you, Omar. No, we'll find a spot.
Okay, so,
Yes. Yes.
moved by, oh, yes, okay, you voted yes.
Ms. Quadrado?
Yes.
Mr. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Matzo?
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan?
Yes.
Dr. Webb?
Yes.
Mrs. Zissou?
Yes. Okay, and then lastly, finance and physical plant, Mr. Matzko,
I'd like to move 13.1 to 13.15.
Second.
moved by Mr. Matzko, seconded by Dr. Webb, roll call, please.
Mr. Abasi?
yes.
Ms. Quadrado?
Yes.
Mr. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Matzo?
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan?
Yes.
Dr. Webb?
Yes.
And Mrs. Zissou?
Yes. Okay, do we have any new or old business?
Madam President.
Yes.
So I guess I'll say a few words. One, I just want to say it's been an honor working with this group. I really didn't know what to expect when I joined the board, but I'm pleasantly surprised with the experience, and I hope that I served well. And I preface the rest of this with saying I have nothing but love for anybody in this room. But so when about 14 months ago, we passed a resolution, this body did, acknowledging, you know, what was going on overseas and calling for, you know, a ceasefire, a resolution, as it was greatly affecting negatively the children of Gaza. And since November, not 30 days ago, 395 days ago, there hasn't been a single school day for the children of Gaza. So my thoughts and prayers go out to them, but it was based on that, and the situation has only gotten worse and worse over the last 14 months, that when time came to run for this body again and put my name back in, I didn't want to be associated with anyone that was implicit, complicit, explicit with what was going on. So based on some of the people that were supportive and vouching, eventually coming down to the level of this board, I elected to run independently. Had nothing to do with, against my fellow incumbents, Carlo, Commissioner Moscow, and Commissioner Webb. Again, I have nothing but love for any of you. I just, that's what I stood for, and I was unwavering in that, and I have no regrets. And I congratulate Carlos. I congratulate Mrs. Serna, soon to be Commissioner Serna, and Mrs. Johnson, soon to be Commissioner Johnson. I wish them nothing but the best of success. And I appreciate the time here. And thank you very much. And thank you again, George, because George took the lead on putting that resolution together. It really meant a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bassi. Thanks very much.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Bassi, I just want to tell you, I commend you for that, for standing by your convictions, for standing by your believing. I think we're all inspired by that. I think you sent a strong message, and I don't think it was done in vain, brother. And again, very excited to see what your future holds. And the beauty of this board is that there is no animosity. I know that we're happy for Mr. Moxo and Dr. Webb is and you see eye to eye, and we have that type of cohesiveness, and we always have, and I think we should always strive to maintain that, not get caught up in unnecessary noise. Just get the business done. Again, thank you so much for everything you did. And standing on your convictions.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Bassi. Okay, any other? Yep. Go ahead, Mr. Bassi.
So this board did what I thought was the responsible thing in hiring a parent coordinator using federal money, which essentially came at no cost to the taxpayer here in Haledon. I just wanted to see if Mr. Walker, when time comes, as he's assessing the situation, what positive impact, if any, has that position had on
Tremendous.
the district?
Tremendous.
And I think it's important that the community understands and hears that, and understands why we wanted a position like that. How it's important that our teachers, our parents are guided and supported in checking how to check the real time, how to log in, resources for PSCNG, and so on and so forth. So I just think it's important that we relay that message to the public. Madam President, you said something that really resonated with me. That it's important that if we don't write the story of our district, then somebody else is gonna write it. And it's important that we let the public know what we do and why we do it. It doesn't mean that we're perfect. It doesn't mean that we're the best. It doesn't mean that we don't have more work to do. It's just pointing out the positive things that are going on in the school district and not forgetting about the work that still needs to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Guzman. And, speaking of the work that needs to be done, for the year to come, we had topics that we had, as a board, we had, said that we wanted to discuss. So one of them was the hiring process and the recruitment. So that one we discussed, but there's 3 other topics. So, I want to make sure that we get those, on an agenda this coming year. So you and I can talk.
All the ones we talked about, including the one that George just mentioned, those are things where, it won't take me very much time to prepare. So, once we look at the schedule for next year, once it's approved, whatever dates that you want to earmark, we can put a topic and I can present that topic.
Okay, yeah, and those are, just general educational topics that are pertinent to our students and, to our district. So it'll be a good conversation for board members. It'll be a good conversation for the public. So I think, it's definitely time well spent. Okay, yeah, that's it for me. Anybody else? Any other old or new business? Yes, Mr. Guzman.
Madam President, I make a motion to open up the public portion.
Okay, you does.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Guzman, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have anybody in the
This is gonna be the
public who
best
would like to
part.
address?
The best part.
Okay, now
Board member,
please
best part.
state your name, state your address.
I'm Kathleen Gonzalez, 50 Bushman Ave, and I'm here as a private citizen. But in years past, I served on this board, and I just want to thank all of you for your dedication education and your, what you've done for, you know, the school system and our children. So, but when I was on the board, whenever I traveled, I always brought a little treat back home. And Mr. Waka was complaining that I never do that. So he's a little, you know,
Yeah.
so.
You do it for Manchester.
I do it for Manchester.
Forgot about us.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, in the spring, I went to Hawaii. And when I was there, I went to a macadamian nut place. And so this is where I went. And so here's a treat for everyone. Okay, so. No.
Mr. Merlino,
Have more.
is this,
Thank you.
I think so.
What did he say?
I think.
Violation, accept it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, this is a,
Thank you so much.
it's part of the treats up there. And I was
And the
just
government
thinking,
can
you know,
take
like, I
from the
think this
vendor
one-
as long as it's less than $20.
Is it 20?
And cumulative 50 in a year from the same
No,
contractor.
Yeah. So
So whenever
anyway.
you're taking out.
Thank you,
like,
Mrs.
Thank you,
Gonzalez.
Mrs.
Thank you
Gonzalez.
very
I was
much.
waiting.
And they're delicious, thank you.
Yeah, do you need me to report on the state meeting? Because I went up there.
Anybody else? Is there anybody online, Mr. Miller? Okay, can I have a motion to close?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Ms. Quadrado, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, happy holidays, everyone,
Yes.
and we will see you in the new year. Thank you.
These are yours.
motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Second, third,
I
fourth,
need a motion, Mr.
So moved.
Vassi,
Yeah.
moved by Mr.
Second.
Vassi, seconded by Mr. Motzko, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Happy New Year. I mean,
Happy New Year.
happy holidays.